So it's been about 5 months since I took delivery of the Kushaq, and just last week I happened to cross 2000 kilometers on the odometer. So I thought it's the right time to film an initial ownership review for all you guys. So this video will not only concentrate on the engine performance, handling, ride quality, interior, exterior, all of that, but also touch upon aspects such as what feels like a Skoda and what doesn't, and also discuss the constant FAQs which I keep getting for my Kushaq. So let's get on with it. So the MQB-A0iN platform which the Skoda Kushaq uses is actually based on the success of the Skoda Scala, and that platform was basically the MQB-A0, and the adopted Indian version is the MQB-A0iN. So by now everyone would be aware about this, as this was really shouted loud by Skoda India officials with their India 2.0 strategy. This platform not only frees up more space but also accommodates different types of gearboxes and engine combinations, and also allows you can say larger wheelbase as well as different body styles to enable VW and Skoda to spawn new models. So first things first, I got to be honest, this is a good sounding engine for its size as well as the 3-cylinder genetics, and overall we know that this engine belongs to the EA211 family of engines from the Skoda and the VW stable. In fact, if you ask me what I like about it, is it the bottom end, is it the mid-range, or is it the top end? The clear answer to that is the mid-range, because everything is happening around that 2000 to 5000 RPM band, and that is where the engine feels most alive. Not that the top end is bad, the top end still has some juice in it. What needs to be mentioned as a critical feedback is the low end, because the low end you can say from around 1100 to up to 1850 RPM range, there is a bit of a, you can say, nothingness, vacuum, turbo lag, everything put together. So that is something which is most you can say prominent, and you cannot ignore that, particularly in the first gear. And so that is the worst part about this engine in its automatic form with the gearbox. We will speak about the gearbox later, but here we spoke about the negative bit of the engine, which is the bottom end. This AQ250 gearbox is a 6-speed torque converter unit, and I am really glad that I did not pick a DSG unit with the 1.5 liter. Not that I don't dig power, but it's simply because this car won't be used on highways a lot. So this is going to be mostly used as a city runabout, short distance runs, and for that this gearbox does a great job. So overall this gearbox does a fairly decent job in picking the right gears for the engine up front, and be it on the highways, open roads. I have done a couple of trips, yes, already, but not too long, and it did feel really good, and the support from the gearbox was always there. Even if I'm not using the paddle shifters, it was picking the right gears for me, and that is a good compliment for any gearbox, be it a torque converter or a DSG. And even in the city, it is never confused, and nothing really fancy, but just the right touch required to extract all the juice from the 1 liter TSI up front. When it comes to the ride and handling balance, the equilibrium, in the case of Kushaq, the equilibrium is towards the ride quality. And it would be surprising to say this to many Skoda or European car fans, but yes, it does feel more ride quality oriented suspension tuning. I say this because a lot of you guys already are aware that I own a Kia Seltos as well, and that is the 1.4 liter DCT gearbox which I have. So to be very honest, that suspension in the Kia feels much more rigid, feels more solid, and more planted at higher speeds. Whereas the ride quality is stiff in the Kia Seltos. Coming to the Kushaq, this feels a lot more cushiony. The suspension tuning is such, even after the Kushaq is under tired compared to the Seltos' 215 setup. So I would really say that some brownie points are going towards the Kushaq in the ride quality. However, the Seltos for me is having the edge for the handling department. It's not only the suspension tuning, but also we do have to note that the Seltos is having some driving modes which really tightens up the steering, inspires confidence at higher speeds, and that works in favor of the Kia. And I'm glad that this doesn't have driving modes, just one mode, but the steering, it's not really ideal at higher speeds. The design of the steering is good, we will come to that later, but overall the weight is slightly missing. However, I did some aggressive driving in the Kushaq on some ghat roads, on some windy twisties during the night, and that time it did feel pretty much reassuring. So it was not the suspension which was the hero there, it was the chassis, it was this platform. It got the Skoda-ness out of it. So coming to the exteriors and interiors, the exterior aspect was discussed well in detail during the walk around which I did on delivery day. And so if you guys have missed that video, I would recommend you watching that video to understand all the exterior minute details and the strengths for the Kushaq. Now we directly speak about the interior, starting off with the rear. Thanks to the flexibility of the platform and the longer wheelbase of the MQB-A0iN, it is a good, spacious feeling at the rear. And I would say that overall comfort levels are decent. This seat has been adjusted according to my driving position, and I would say that I'm really happy to be as a passenger in the back seat. However, the good news stops here, because overall the added seat space and the airiness in the rear has compromised the boot space at the back. So that is the flip side for the rear as well as the boot space for the Skoda Kushaq. At the front, the design is an interesting mix of glossy plastics, which is the piano black. Then there is a matte 3D treatment, which is again distinguishing itself and creating some character. There is metal. There is a dark part on the dashboard which is on the top, a lighter shade at the bottom, dual tone. The Indians like it. As I said, it does look solidly put together, but the touch and feel is not really Skoda-like, but we will discuss that a bit later. In the next part, I would like to emphasize that there are some really good bits in the interior which I genuinely love, and there are a few things which I truly miss. To love, I would say I love there is a paddle shifter option given right from launch, because in my Kia Seltos, though it was the top of the line GTX Plus spec, it did not have paddle shifters at launch. Another thing which I love is the solid handbrake. So this reassures the overall strength of the build in the interior. One of the aspects, not everything. So love the handbrake. The music system, which is by Skoda Sound, I believe it's a 6+1 setup. It is one of the good sounding systems. I don't think it's the best. The best is again, people say the MG Hector system sounds really good. The Kia's Bose system sounds good. The JBL does sound good in the Harrier. So I would say this is definitely not the best, but it is surely competing with those systems. Finally, to discuss the most important lovely bit of the interior is the steering wheel. It's truly a piece of art, and the way it's been designed, it feels premium and adds that missing premiumness for the Kushaq's cabin. So this is one of the things I really love. But on the flip side, I hate these touch controls. You know, a proper knob would have been better. The AC controls are not to my liking. Now, to talk about the negatives about the interior, I would like to highlight a few points. Starting off with the missing features. Things like the 360-degree cameras are missing, front parking sensors are missing, and spending a good amount of money, top dollar, to buy the top variant, you really don't want to miss out on these kind of features. Particularly the competition has it. I'm not even asking for the lane departure, or you can say the cameras which you get when you switch on the indicator, like in the case of the Kia Seltos. So if not that, at least 360 degrees or front parking sensors, that should have been given. That's missing, so that's not done. I don't like it. I really also don't like the fact that we don't have electric seats. It's still again manual adjust. I think at this price point, again, it's a big negative. Another quick point I would like to say is the ambient lighting. There are no you can say mood lights or mood themes. Forget mood themes. There is just one single ambient light which is white, and that, in today's day and age, it's like a missed opportunity for Skoda. It's like it's like Skoda is saving that for the facelift. When the facelift is there, we will give more ambient lighting options. I genuinely think it was a wrong decision to not glow up this interior in whichever light possible for the owners. So in this segment, we're going to discuss 5 points which make the Kushaq feel like a proper Skoda, and 5 points which make it feel non-Skoda like. Starting off with what makes it feel like a proper Skoda. The exterior, paint, and the finish. That is really top notch. The overall finish, the fit and finish levels, the panel gaps, everything is consistent. The paint quality is good, and so that there is no compromise, and it's never, there is not much of localization aspect visible on the exterior fit and finish. So good job there. Second point is the driving experience. Thanks to this global platform, this MQB A0iN makes the Kushaq feel like a proper Skoda. Point number 3 is this steering wheel, and this truly transforms the overall non-fancy interior of the Kushaq. And by picking this steering wheel, it's in line with the entire Skoda lineup, up to the Superb and the Kodiaq. Point number 4 is the door thud sound. That is properly Skoda-like, and I don't really feel that there is a missing element of Skoda-ness in the door close sound. So that is a thumbs up. Point number 5 is strangely amusing. I would say the AC. So the Kushaq has a typical Skoda AC, a typical European AC. By this, I mean to say the AC performance is strictly average. The localization aspect could have been used here in a better manner to cool the cabin, and like how a Toyota or a Suzuki would. But this is truly a Skoda, that means, because the AC performance is average, just like we see in other European spec or Skoda models. Now we need to discuss all the points which make the Kushaq non-Skoda like. Starting off with the horn. So this is a non-Skoda horn, and I really feel and I genuinely believe Skoda India shouldn't have skimped on this and should have given a proper German Skoda-like horn. Point number 2. I'm not really sure whether you're able to hear this, but these are really noisy power windows. The overall operation should not sound like a big deal, and this overall sound makes it completely un-Skoda-like, completely non-European, and definitely very utilitarian. So definite no and non-Skoda-like sounding power windows. Point number 3. A typical Skoda should have an organ type accelerator pedal, whereas in this it's missing. The next point are the wiper blades. They are definitely localized to a very cheap aftermarketish level. I feel at this price point, back in the day when I had a Skoda Laura 1.9 PD LNK, it was cheaper than this car. That had much premium wiper blades, and it felt expensive. Whereas these feel like you can just replace them for 400 bucks. That time, the replacement for Skoda wiper blades was more than 1600, 1800 rupees. I'm talking about mid 2000s. So though this is a good development for when you want to change and get it done through the aftermarket, but overall these are non-Skoda like wiper blades. Finally, the interior fit and finish. As I said previously, it looks like a solid interior, but it really doesn't feel solid. When you feel it, you can hear a lot of sounds, and I feel it might get squeaky in the near to long-term ownership of the Kushaq. And finally, to conclude this segment, I would like to ask Skoda India that where's my umbrella? In this next segment, we are going to discuss the constant, frequently asked questions I keep getting about my ownership of the Kushaq. Starting off with the EPC issues. So this has been a controversial topic. Skoda India has been fortunately very, you can say, willing to get this solved for all the customers. They did a recall campaign as well. So for me, this EPC issue has not cropped yet, and I've already got the recall. I've already got a new fuel pump installed as a part of the recall campaign. So that's done. And also, I would like to say that I have been using only 95 RON fuel, and Indian Oil's XP95 has been used right from day one. And maybe that has contributed, good performance on the fuel level. The fuel pump has been, okay with it, and those EPC issues have never cropped up. If that EPC was a fuel-related issue, because the fuel pump was changed, so I would like to say that that's done and dusted. I don't think we are seeing much of EPC-related issues coming in from owners who have actually got new fuel pumps installed. Next question which I keep getting asked is, what's the fuel economy like? So to answer that, I would say the fuel economy is dependent on the way you drive, because a small engine has its advantages, but it does have its disadvantages as well when it comes to delivering performance from a small engine. So I would like to say that when you are driving in a sedate manner, not really wanting to be in a rush on the highway, long distance runs, you can easily get approximately 18 to 21 kilometers per liter. If you don't cross 100, don't really want to be in a rush to overtake people. So 18 to 21 kilometers per liter is doable, achievable, and it's viable. However, as soon as you want to be slightly eager and wanting to reach your destination quicker and want to be driving faster, your fuel economy will drop to 12 to 14 kilometers per liter. And I'm not even talking about redlining. I'm just talking about if you want to be quick. So that 1 liter TSI has to be kept on tap. So that drops the fuel economy substantially to 12 to 14 kilometers per liter on long distance runs. Now, when you're talking about short city runabouts, I haven't got more than 8 kilometers per liter in city for short runs. So that is poor, very poor. My M340i gives me 7.5 to 8 kilometers per liter in the city. So just compare the engines. That's having double the cylinders, 3 times the engine size, and gives almost similar fuel economy. So I would just say that though it's not comparable, but this is a poor fuel economy giver in short city runs, but it's a great fuel economy giver in long road trips when you're not wanting to drive fast. But on an average, you can easily expect 14 odd kilometers per liter with mixed driving and with mixed driving conditions. And so that's I just hope I've done justice in answering the question which I keep getting asked about the fuel economy of the Kushaq. Finally, I keep getting asked about the reliability. To be honest, it's just been 5 months and it's a bit too early to answer the reliability bit. And though there have been already one recall campaign which has been done on the car, there is another recall campaign which is for the door bidding, which has been because of some squeaks already coming into the cabin, or so the Skoda India has on their account they are changing the door biddings. I haven't got that done yet because I haven't had the time to get to the showroom and the service center to get this done. So overall, other than these two things, it has been a fairly reliable car. It's a new car. So if people who keep asking me questions about the reliability, I would just say just buy the maximum extended warranty and you are going to be set. So finally, to conclude things, I would like to say that the Kushaq delivers in most of the areas but misses out on some of the key features and space which could have made it the best in the segment. As an owner, I don't have any buyer's remorse yet, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed on the reliability. That is the reason I have picked the 1 liter TSI with the torque converter combination with some additional extended warranty. I'd advise you do the same. And on that note, thanks for watching.